Hi guys, you know me, PLO Warrior. Today I'm going to be doing a holder manager statistic review. So how to get the most out of your holder manager and plug some potential leaks yourself. See where you can make some more money and lose a little bit less money, and see if you're playing in the right kind of games. So I'm just going to have a look at a few different accounts that I've got to make some generalizations here and see, some leaks if I can spot them, or see what I'm doing well. So this is an account I had 2011, so 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago, nearly 7. And one thing you can do is, obviously you've got your normal stats up here, you know, your amount won, your rake paid, which is always a horrible number to see. But then you've got the more filters here. So things that we can look at is, so on this account I'm winning anyway, so it's probably more useful to see it when you're struggling or when you're losing slightly. So we'll just start off with this one here. So as you can see, I'm making some profit here. So we're just going to check my 3-bet pots first of all. You can see I'm winning 300 big blinds per 100 here in 3-bet pots. So it looks like I'm not 3-betting too much or anything. My 3-bet stat was pretty tight, 4%. So obviously it's pretty optimal. You can see my stats on this account here. It's very reasonable, like 26, 12 and 4. It's very tight pretty much. So probably not going to find too many leaks on here. This is 6 max games, so 3-bet pots are alright. You can see the bottom here, triple barrel. So if you go down here, you can see a huge BB per 100. So that's actually not necessarily a good thing. It means that I might not be triple barreling enough. Like when the number's so high, it means that I'm obviously just triple barreling the nuts and getting called, probably by weaker players having like 3rd nuts or whatever, just have a look. Yeah. Well, I like this at least. This is I just clicked on the top hand here, which is in the 3. So on this side, this is the biggest pot that I 3-barreled apparently. So button opens, we min 3-bet. Let me just close that there. And bet flop. So this is a 2-4 game. So we're just like 100 big blinds deep, or 150. So min 3-bet. Betting, and obviously river the nut. So not really much to be said about that, but yeah, it ends up folding. But yeah, it means that when the number's so high, you might want to 3-barrel a bit more, basically, than what you're doing. It doesn't need to be such a high number. So that's the 3-barreling pots. Another thing you can do is, another good one to see is post flop cooldown, which is calling flop, turn and river basically. So here you can see it's only 38 hands that's happened, but I'm making a profit on there as well. Still quite a highish number, so it probably means that I'm folding too much, but obviously I'm winning. It's a profitable number, so it's good, but it means that I might be folding too much to either a flop bet or turn bet. But like I say, this account here is generally pretty solid. So let's have a look at another account here. So that's one of my older ones there. Let's have a look at how many hands have I got there. 85,000 on that one. Let's have a look on this one here. So I'm winning a lot less on this site. So we can see, some leaks here. It's similar numbers though, 28, 19, 7, a tiny bit more aggressive, but still very reasonable numbers. So just have a look at my 3-bet pots first of all. We are showing a profit in the 3-bet pots, which is kind of to be expected when my 3-bet stat is only like 7%. So we can just clear that for the moment. Another one to look at is calling the 3-bets. So we're just going to call versus 3-bets. Then there we go. So that's a big leak here. Minus 105 big blinds per 100. It's more important to look at that than the actual figure, because this is all mixed stakes. Like I'm playing like 25, 50, 51, 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 6, basically. So more important to look at the big blinds per 100. So yeah, immediately you can see there's a leak here. Although it's not the whole story, because obviously the EV can be slightly off. So if you can just find the EV here. Where is the EV? I used to wear glasses. I lost them, but we've got some new ones being delivered in a minute, so that's good. Winnings and rake, forgive me, general. No, winnings and rake. EV, right? Should be under E. B, E, or is it USD? EV? EV per 100, EV. It's this one, right? EV adjusted. We just put this in here. Okay, so yeah, you can see I'm supposed to be losing 500, but I'm losing 3 times more, so that should be like minus 33 big blinds per 100 because of the EV, really. But the EV is not the whole story, but it still looks like a leak. So if I just clear the filter here, one of my stats I've got here is total fold to in position 3-bet. So I am actually folding 20% of my hands to a 3-bet in position. So I wouldn't say it is actually a big leak after all. I think I've just been getting unfortunate on that one. But it would be something to look at. I would look at the hands. Well, I might as well do that now. So we'll just go back to the call in position 3-bet, call versus 3-bet, sure. And then we'll just look at the hands, look at the biggest hands that we lost there to see if we've got any big leaks, like what we should be doing. So we open here, never folding to this 3-bet, that's for sure. Well, we flop a set, so that's pretty standard, right? And we've got a gut shot on the turn. Yeah, that's totally fine. And opening, not folding this to a 3-bet, flop top 2 pair. SPR is not very big once he bets, so we just get it in and nothing to do there. Yeah, so I'm fine with that. I don't think there's that many leaks here, but it's something to look into. This is possibly a fold if I know anything about the guy, but I trust my instinct enough that it's not a fold against him. I did have aces, but yeah, so that's fine. I'm happy with that. So we'll just clear this filter here, and we'll look at some other ones. What have we looked at so far? I'm not actually sure. Triple barrel, I think we've looked at that. Yeah. Also just flat the river, so it's just calling on the river card. Don't quite know why it says I'm losing, but then I'm winning. It's a bit strange, but yeah, should be winning here. So just have a look at the river cooldown. So just look at the biggest pot I lose here to see. We 3-bet this guy. We've got premium hand on the button. And what stakes is this one? 51, so we're 300 big blinds deep, so definitely not folding to a 4-bet. Flop a gut shot and a flush draw. Definitely prefer calling here. I mean, to be honest, you could just raise and get it in, but I don't think it'd be showing a big profit. There's already 76 in there, we've got 256 left, and he bets half pot, so there's 120 in there. At this point, there's an SPR of 2, and we do have a backdoor flush draw, so it wouldn't be disastrous to get it in, but I think flatting in position would be a lot of a much better play. Get it in on a club, obviously a spade. Get it in on a king or a 10. And we can also do some bluffing, so yeah, standard. Check back on the turn after we make the second nuts, which I like. And then he bets the river, and we kind of fold here, I don't think, with the second nuts, and he has. So yeah, I'm happy with that. And open ace, king, queen, 8. Not the best hand. Maybe a fold against a really tight player, but this is the same guy that had the aces last hand, so I don't know. I think I must have some history with him or something, but yeah. You could fold that against a really tight player. Go for the old min-raise maneuver. Yeah, this is just whatever. That's king 10. Yeah, so that seems standard as well. Most of these hands just seem standard to me. See what other filters we can get here to find some leaks. So we've got done the triple barrel, just cool river bet, done 3 bets. I think also if you go to advanced action filter, you can do other things in here, like really specific ones. So like check call flop, check raise turn or something like that, which is usually a pretty nutty line anyway. But pre-flop actions, I can try and do 4-bet because there's no 4-bet here for some reason. But I mean, whatever. So yeah, just clear that filter there. We've seen all these ones here. 3-bet double barrel. I mean, there's not really much point checking that out. I presume that's always going to be in a profit. Yeah. Okay, so that's like the kind of action filters. Then you've got positional filters. So this one's quite interesting. So small blind and big blind is pretty much always going to be in a deficit, right? So in the big blind, losing 100 big blinds per 100 is if you just fold every time, right? So 30 is quite a reasonable number. I think 30 and 15 is like a reasonable amount. So we've got 30 and 4. Obviously, if we can get the big blind down more, it's nice, but it's very hard to do when you're paying a big blind, obviously. Middle position is not winning that much, you can see here. Over 12,000 hands, like pretty much breaking even. So I would certainly like to tighten up my middle position pre-flop hand selection, basically. I just realised we were only looking at just the last 250 hands. I think we were. No, we weren't. We were looking at all the hands. That's good. Yeah, so just going back to position there. Let's have a quick look. Right, so yeah, middle position. We're just going to look at the biggest pots. To be honest, it's not always best to just look at the biggest pots because the biggest pots are going to be usually standard, right? So you, for example, limp, double suited queens, call a raise, flop the nuts, check raise the nuts, turn the second nuts, get it all in. That's what I mean. And he has a higher straight. It's not that useful looking at the higher pots, so maybe you want to look at ones a bit less, like this for example. It's less big blinds, open double suited kings. So that's not always a c-bet on that board. I mean, you can c-bet, but yeah, and the check raise, I don't love it. I really don't love it. I would check this back now, this flop, because we hate to get check raised and we don't have any diamonds, and we can turn a heart as well. So it's definitely better to check raise. So plays a check call, and now that he checks the turn, I would just check back here, but I went for a bluff because I've got the kings, and he jammed on me, and I end up folding. Wow, I can't fold there after I've put in. You are joking, right? Dude, I need like 17% equity. I blocked the kings. I can't fold after I put. So yeah, that hand's just completely misplayed. So I can already see that. Although that's got nothing really to do with it being in middle position, but we're looking at hands that maybe I'm opening too weaker hands. So these are all in middle position. You can just see some hands like this, for example. This is actually under the gun. Oh, it's because it's five-handed, so it counts as middle position. Yeah, I don't mind the open. And then obviously once this guy calls, we probably flag. Flop a wrap. Still got a wrap and a flush draw, but we jam. I don't know why we jam. Guy has 10. So yeah, we're just looking for hands that maybe we shouldn't be opening in middle position. This is not an open, I don't think. For example here, 7-9 of hearts is too weak, so I think I'd actually fold this hand. And now we get 3-bet. We are in position, but as we've raised, we obviously have to call. And then I'm just getting it in on the flop, because the SPR is like 1.5. We've got top 2 pair. Aces of clubs, obviously. Yeah, just looking for kind of hands that might be a bit too weak to be opening. Maybe too weak to open. In an aggressive game, this is too weak to open under the gun. Now obviously we have the call. We have to get it in, everything standard there, but yeah, so I can see obviously a few leaks already opening under the gun or in middle position. Slightly too weaker hands, so that's one thing that I would change if I was playing there now. Okay, and what else? So we've got that. So as you can see there, just a few filters that you can play around with, make it quite useful. I don't like this I don't like this EV thing. Confuses me. Right. So that's that account. Look at my full tilt account. Haven't played there since Stars took over. Oh, this is not the right account. I just need to change it. That's iPoker. Right, this is the Stars one. Sorry, full tilt one. Right, so just going into the filters. Okay, so you can see we're running 2 big blinds per 100 on this one. Just look at the 3-bet pots first of all. Yeah, happy with our 3-bet pots, seem very good. I think this is all short stacking, like 51 or 1-2 rush. This one needs to short stack. Okay, so Yeah, 3-bet pots was alright. Just clear them filters there. So the filters are going to be a bit different here. There's not going to be too much depth to them, just because I'm not going to be triple barreling or anything like that, for example. I'm not going to be cooling down triple barrels. So if we just look at my triple barrel thing here. I did triple barrel. It wasn't all short stacking, I don't think. Like some of it, or this was. I don't know how I can triple barrel this. Alright, flopping the nuts pretty much. Triple barrel small. Turn the nut flush. Yeah, I guess, wow. Guess I can triple barrel if I flop the nuts in a 5-way pot. Okay. Slowing down a bit here. So what would be more useful, because most of it's short stacking, is like all in on the flop, because I've got a short stack. I'm going to be, yeah, here you go. So you can see I've got a huge amount here, big blinds per 100. It's because I'm short stacking, so my decisions are basically just going to be all in on the flop, and my average all in EV is 51.8%. That's not on the flop though, is it? I think there's well, kind of irrelevant anyway. That's already quite high enough, to be honest, but if there is one to see on the flop, average all-in equity. So obviously, if this number is too high, then I'm not going all in enough. You know, if it was like 60%, for example, I'm just pretty much just getting it all in with the nuts. So I'm playing too tight in that example. So you're going to be leaking money in when you're folding, basically, because you're folding too much. Okay, so that's my full tilt account, and I just want to show you the difference. Like, as you can see, I've been making profit on all of these sites pretty much. This is my iPoker. No, sorry, that's wrong one. This is the iPoker account. I've had more than one account on iPoker, but this is just another one. I'm trying to clear the filter here, it's taking too long. This is ridiculous. Like, obviously winning $900 minus, like, with that rake back, but paying this much rake is just a killer. Like, that's just slavery of the highest degree. Let's have a look at this hand here. I don't know. All right. Yeah. So we can have a look here. This is 6 max as well. So we're having a look at 3-bet pots. My 3-bet has gone up slightly from the other sites, because this is a bit later on in my poker career. 3-bet pots are okay. Holder Manager did inevitably crash, which was going to happen because I keep changing all the filters. That's just alright. My computer can certainly hack it, but I just don't know if the software can. So 3-bet pots are okay. Let's have a look at our triple barrel frequency, and we've got a huge amount here, which means not triple barreling enough probably, and so we probably would need to get some more hands in our triple barrel range. And just have a look at post-flop cooldown to see how that's going for us. Post-flop cooldown. So that's when the opponent's triple barreling, and you can see here that it's a huge loss. So we do need to look at the hands to see what we're doing with our triple barrel cooldown. Are we playing too loose when they're free barreling? Let's have a look at the biggest pot here. Like I say before, the biggest pot's probably not the one you want to be looking at, just because it's going to be a cooler. So we open in under the gun, which is probably not and open under the gun for a start. But we do open under the gun and flop top set with a 6, and the guy donks out. Donks pot. So it could be 4-5, it could also be 8-9 with spades, etc. So I don't actually like raising here just because if he has 4-5 he's stacking off. If he has 8-9 with spades he's stacking off, and we're probably slightly behind that hand anyway, just because we have a 6. So mathematically he's probably a favourite. So we do flat call and the deuce on the turn. He goes for a pot again. So obviously it's a gross situation, because if we call here and the river's a king of diamonds, he's still going to pot with 8-9 of spades. So if we call here, like, we're going to have to call rivers as well, pretty much. Depends on what we think about this guy. I don't know anything about him now. And river the queen, pots again. So at this point we're just hoping he has 8-9. He did have just 4-5, naked 4-5, which is like kind of just a really bad play anyway. Just with pot leading, like, what stakes is this? 25.50. So we've got like almost 200 here. We've got like 400 big blinds, and he's potting 3 ways. Like, the nuts is supposed to change like so often on the turn, like 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, spade, 6, 7, 3. Like, that's just a huge amount of cards. So you can't expect to be good by the river. I mean, fortunately he is, but I guess that's kind of why I'm calling him down. There's more combinations of like 5-8 with spades, 8-9 with spades, 9-10 jack-jack with spades, slow played aces with spades, maybe like pocket 3s with spades, ace 3-4, ace 3-5 with spades. There's so many combinations that we have to call him down. So I don't mind it, and this guy could be like crazy as well. I don't know now looking at it, but that is certainly adding up to the post-flop cooldown, making that a big loss figure. 400 big blinds. So we open under the gun, right? No, we call under the gun open. And flop. Overpaired jack high flush draw. The guy pots it. Calling. Pots it. I mean, we turn the 9 as well, so it's kind of gross, but same exact situation before. 4-5 and then spades. However, on this board there's a lot less straight draws because it's 2-3-6, so there's no wraps available like on the other one. So this one is probably more of a fold. So we call flop, hoping to hit a spade obviously, or a jack. When he pots the turn, I think we should just fold here. But we obviously call because we hit the 9, but I think the 9 is quite irrelevant. And then the 9 it comes on the river. I mean, once we call the turn, we have to call the river, but we block spades as well. That's the thing here. So he's even less likely to have spades. He's less likely to have a straight draw because there's much less available on the flop. That's why the turn is definitely a fold here, looking back. And he ends up having 4-5 as well. So 4-5 is the nuts. So the other one I don't mind, I could go either way, but this one I'd say was definitely a fold. And we have this hand here. Open, get 3-bet, certainly calling with a suited ace. Do flop top 2 pair. He pots it. Everybody seems to pot it on this site. So flat call, 3 on the turn, he pots it again. I don't love it. This is a fold. This is just a fold. They always just have it, man. I mean, he could have kings with spades, but that's just like clutching at straws. It's just a fold here. Obviously we call king on the river, which is definitely a bad card again. So he could have a wrap and he's got there. He could have a flush draw and he's missed. He could have kings with a flush draw and he's got there, and he can have aces and he got us crushed. So we don't beat hardly any hands here. So we call, and he did have the wrap on the flop. So yeah, that's a fold, I think, on the river, especially on the river when the king comes. everything got there. So yeah, definitely some leaks going on here. So open from the small blind, we're in the big blind, and we're 200 big blinds deep. Flat call. This is the guy from the first hand who had the 4-5, and he's leaded out. We've got jack high flush draw. I see one card because we're in position. I guess we have to see another card, but he's just potting it again. Because it's the same dude, just I think it's just a fold. You can have aces with diamonds, you can have a 7, or you can have a bluff, but I just don't think they bluff enough. So it's probably just a fold on the flop, to be honest. It's kind of hard to fold when you've got a flush draw, but I don't mind seeing, yeah. 6-8 is like the only hand we're hoping to beat here. It's just a fold, I think. Just a fold. So he has a set, full house, yeah. People are just too polarized when they're putting it, and they just don't bluff enough when they're putting it. So this is a fold as well, certainly. See what other hands we've got in here. So I've spotted a leak, definitely, on this account. Certainly too much. It seems like they're very loose here on the iPoker. So that's why I'm calling down lighter than the other sites, but too light. Too light calling down. So we call an open in position. I'm not folding big blind versus small blind open very much at all. And we are like a lot of big blinds deep. What's that? 2, 4, 6, 600 big blinds deep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 800 big blinds deep nearly. Yeah, so I remember this guy. This guy's an absolute trout. You can see 85, 58, 36. I mean, we absolutely crushed this guy anyway, so I forgive myself for whatever I do in this hand, just because obviously we've got like however many big blinds this is. 15 buy-ins off this guy. Yeah, 15 buy-ins off just this guy in this session. So I forgive myself for like calling with an ace and then 2 pair and a flush draw and then the flush. Yeah, I can't fold that against this guy, man. This guy is like mental. Okay, so that's fine. But yeah, we've certainly spotted some leaks here. Just see. We raise kings, flat, a donk, and this is a fold definitely on the turn. Definite fold on the turn. No way to improve. Far too light of a cool down. I mean, the guy looks pretty loose as well. But yeah, so definite leak we spotted there, so that's good to see. But as you can see, we are making an okay profit on here. This site, too much rake though. And I just want to show you, I've pretty much made a profit on every site, right? Now I'm just going to look at my heads up play, because this is a bit different, because this is all 6 max, right? So it's more, I think it's more useful to see in a heads up play. So this is just heads up against people, I think. Or actually no, I started off playing 6 max and then I got bored because this site just had so many nits on it, and I know you can beat nits by, you know, adapting, but I just find it so boring. Like, you've got to enjoy what you do. I just can't play on a table full of like 5 people just folding. I'm not happy just winning like small and big blinds like all the time. I just want to get involved in the pots. So this is heads up, right? So you can see I've got like quite a decent big blinds per 100 here. So this is why I've chosen to start playing heads up poker. And if we just go to my filters here, so let's have a look at our 3-bet pots. So 3-bet pots is okay. We're 3-betting 14%, which is pretty low for heads up play, but it's certainly reasonable. Then we can have a look at our triple barrels, see what we're doing here. Triple barrel is huge, so this is good. And you can see here as well that if I just clear the filters here, go to the cash results graph and go to showdown winnings, you can see the red line there is the non-showdown winnings. So most of my pots are being won without showdown, so it looks like I'm bluffing a lot and choosing, you know, good spots to bluff. And then the blue line is showdown winnings, so pretty much evenish on the actual showdown. So most of my pots are coming from actually stealing the pot, which will actually make you a better player, trying to increase your red line. But it is a lot easier to do in heads up than it is to do in 6 max to get your red line to go up. Okay. So overall, yep. So we've looked at our triple barrels, it was fine. We look at our post-flop cooldown. Now this is quite an important one for heads up play, the post-flop cooldown, definitely. So it's only been 60 hands, which is not very many. So it looks like my opponents aren't 3-barreling very much. And yeah, we're okay on that front. So we looked at our 3-bet pots, yeah. Have a look at our position as well. That's 6 max though, isn't it? Have a look at our position here. So yeah, you can see in the big blind I'm losing 12 big blinds per 100, which is really good, I think, for a good rate for heads up PLO, because obviously it's 100 if you just fold every time, like I said before. So that's all good there. And yeah, that's that. Right, so as you can see, I've pretty much made a profit on all these sites, right? And now I just want to show you, okay, PokerStars. Right, this is the full tilt one again. Although this was like a long time ago, but they were both a long time ago. Right. Full tilt was like $5,000 without rake back, $12,000 in rake, 2 big blinds per 100, right? If we just go to PokerStars, right? Minus $178, 5 grand in rake. You see the problem with PokerStars? It's just, I can't. And these are good stats as well, you know, 23, 16, 7, 3 bets slightly on the higher side, but very, very normal stat. It's just not super nitty, you know. And I just cannot win on PokerStars, right? The rake is big. People are just too good. I just can't win. I don't know why. I've got a Hold'em hand in there. What the fuck? Random. Yeah, just can't do it, man. So we'll have a look at the stats on here to see. Right, 3-bet pots, very good. See where the leak is coming from. Although it's not that we're actually losing, it's just that we haven't won anything. I mean, minus $178. I mean, that's without any bonuses, so pretty much even on that site, but over 172,000 hands. That's like, it's a lot of hands to be even for. Just look at the cash results graph on here. Pretty much just, oh mate, it's just symmetrical. That's just a horrible. No other site I've ever played on is the same. And I don't know why people stick to PokerStars like so much. I mean, people that can beat it, fair play. I think I can win tournaments on there, but not cash games. Right, so just going to look at the filters on PokerStars and see if we can see any patterns here. After my holder manager just, first of all, let's look at position. Right, small blind, big blind, loss is what we expect. Every other position is a profit. However, I do think the big blind loss is quite a lot. Even though it's only 38 big blinds, we could reduce that somehow and reduce that somehow. So I would just play tighter out of those two positions, definitely. But yeah, every other position is a profit, as you'd expect. Okay, so now let's just go back to the filters. Let's see what we got. So 3 bet pots, we were in the green. Just waiting for it to load up. Alright, so triple barrels, I reckon it's going to be in a profit. Big profit. That's because people are playing so tight here, right? Definitely. And I reckon my post-flop cooldown is actually going to be in a negative because they're so nitty here, I believe. But I'm probably calling them down incorrectly. Yeah, so you can see pretty much the whole money that I've lost on the entire 178,000 hands is, I could have wiped that out just by sorting out my cooldown, post-flop cooldown. So yeah, I thought I would be in a negative figure here. Let's have a look at this hand here. Open, 5, 3 bet, call, bet half pot. Why am I calling exactly? Obviously, he must be a trout and he must be super aggressive for me to be calling here. And we kind of turned the best card, so I don't actually like raising here just because if I think he's that aggressive that he's barreling anyway, we're only getting called by bet hands when we jam and we allow him to bluff the river. So do we do that? Yes. At least I like that play. Obviously now we have to call river, but yeah, he has the nuts. They always just have the nuts, man. I don't know why I did that. Fancy play, but what's this? 10 PLO bargain. Oh, this is 10 deep PLO or whatever you call it. 5 cent, 10 cents deep PLO. I used to love this game, man. I don't know why they got rid of deep games. So open and get free bet. But it's just beautiful, man, because we're deep, so it's never folding. And never folding on flop. And we should be folding on the turn, but we don't. And then we river at 8, and then now we have to call, but we should definitely be folding on the turn. So yeah, a bit too loose, certainly on the 3 barrel. So I was losing on PokerStars. However, I think I was doing nicely in the deep games, right? Is there a way that we can see that by stakes? 5 cent, 10 cent, PLO. I guess that's the deep one, right? Yeah, you can see there I've got a nice profit in the deep games. 8 big blinds per 100. I'm sure that's the deep game. It's got to be, isn't it? Let me just see. Oh no, it's not. Where's the deep games then? It must be the deep games. Oh, that's all of them though, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I can't distinguish the difference. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so you can see 40 big blinds per 100 on the deep game, deep ante game. So I was crushing that, but I didn't play it much, only 12,000 hands. But they removed it, which sucked. But that's the only game I could beat, the deep game. Now there's nowhere to play deep ante games. But yeah, so that is how you use Holder Manager to review some of your leaks. We found 2 potential leaks. Both of them are the same thing, I think. Yeah, both of them are just calling down too light on specific accounts. Thing is, when you play on different sites, it plays differently, just because of like the rate back, the promotions, just the general kind of people that it attracts, plays very differently. So you can't just play like one style on every site. And I was playing too loose, calling them down anyway. But yeah, that's that account there. And I think that's going to be it for the video, guys. Thanks for watching. It's been emotional.